Alright, so tonight we're going to do Grot Mart. For any of you who have been to Astronomicon, you'll recognize this mission. We borrowed it for our club championship. So basically this is a really fun mission. It can be a little crazy. And I'm trying something a little different this time where I'm actually showing you the mission on camera. Hopefully it will pick up properly. Probably not, because, you know, that's life. But I'm going to try to do it. So anyway, the idea is that this is a victory point scenario. And as part of this scenario, we have this little dude, who is Jippy. Now Jippy has 2 units of 6 attack squigs with him to guard his loot. He has 4 pieces of loot. The idea is you get bonus victory points if you make a deal with Jippy, if you find his loot and bring it to him and give him some. He will take the loot and you get an actual 200 bonus victory points for making a deal with him. If you hold an item of loot at the end of the game, you get 100 victory points as well. And the idea is to get more than 150 victory points than your opponent. Okay, so tonight we have the Tyranids. So we have the 2 Tyranids, a Malanthrope, a unit of 2 Venomthropes, 2 units of 7 Warriors, because that's a good idea, and a unit of Dakafexes and 2 T-Fexes, and we'll go over to see who they're taking on. Okay, Matt, tell me what I'm fighting today.
Today you're going to be going up against the Chaos Space Marine Rule pre-Heresy color scheme Thousand Suns. So right here we've got 2 Hellbrutes, both armed with missile launcher autocannon. You're facing an Infernal Relic Predator with a Plasma Destroyer, Heavy Bolter Sponsons. You've got a squad of 6,000 Suns, Havocs with autocannons, Bastion with a quad gun and an escape hatch, Infernal Relic Sicaran, Heavy Bolter Sponsons, 6 more 1,000 Suns Rhino, 7,000 Suns Rhino, 10 Cultists, 6 more 1,000 Suns in their Rhino, and because I am running 2 Infernal Relics, because from IA 13, this is my Demonology Sorcerer, and Armon is my main HQ.
Okay, and the sweet looking army will be done by the February 22nd tournament.
Yes.
So if you would like to come beat it up, make sure you attend that tournament. So we're going to set up the table and we're going to get going. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So the Tyranids are all set up in standard eye-like shrouding formation. So we've got a couple T-Fexes, some Warriors, Venomthrope, and the Warlord, who got Onslaught and Paroxysm, which is okay. And Dominion, of course, because everybody gets those. So we've got the Malanthrope, the non-Warlord, who got the Catalyst and Warp Blast. And we've got the Dakafexes and the Warriors here. So Grot Mart is at the middle of the center of the board, I should say. Middle of the board, same thing. Jippy has to start at the exact middle. We each got to place 2 chunks of loot. Mats are over there. I put one over here by this big pile of garbage. Not the T-Fex, the actual pile of garbage. And one's over here. We then got to place our squigs. So I placed mine over here to guard this pathway to the Grot Mart. Matt then put his over here to, well, attack Tyranids, I guess. So that's my setup, and then Matt's gonna put his guys out.
So we've got deployment here, Relic Predator, Cultists are on top of the Bastion, Havocs are inside it, Hellbrute, the Demonology Sorcerer got Possession, the 1,000 Sun Sorcerer in the unit got Tzeentch's Firestorm, this Sorcerer got Tzeentch's Firestorm, this Sorcerer got Tzeentch's Firestorm, this one got Doombolt, and Armon picked up Shrouded and Mental Fortitude from Telekinesis, Smite from Biomancy, and Doombolt from Tzeentch. Now the guys who picked from Tzeentch also get the Primaris for free, so... And...
It's a lot of psychic powers.
It is, and that's it.
Okay. For those unfamiliar with our club's rules, however, we do have a max 12 dice for any psychic phase. So although that sounds really, really scary, how many power dice that he's going to be able to generate every turn, probably max out at 12 every time. He does have a huge selection of spells, but we did this to limit the some of the power builds that were just bogging the game down, and I mean Demon Factory can get pretty unfun. Okay, so we're on to, let's see if you can seize the initiative.
I do not.
You do not. However, much like some of the other club championship missions, we actually don't get to go first. Jippy and the Grots do. So I will... Grots. Keep calling them Grots. They're squigs. Okay, so Jippy and the squigs will go first. So get back after their turn. Okay, so the squigs charged the Fexes. A couple died from Overwatch. And then they put a wound on one of the Fexes, and then proceeded to get doubled out by Strength 9. Jippy took a shot at the T-Fex, however did not cause a wound. The squigs ran at the Sakaran and were able to put a lance on it because they have rending. So yeah, so now it's on the turn. Okay, turn 1. Mr. Flyrant flew over there, said I should be the warlord, and blew up a predator. Yeah. Happy. These guys couldn't really range anything, so they just ran up. These guys as well are just trying to stay away. Now that T-Fex grabbed a chunk of loot, because he is my deal maker, it looks like, or he's going to try to make a deal. But because he did that, he cannot run, and he cannot shoot. So he gets to just walk over and try to make deals. Flyrant over here tried to shoot a rhino. Apparently, warlords aren't that good at shooting. He didn't even do a hull point. So, on to the Thousand Suns. Right, talk about your turn.
So, I moved forward, made a rhino line. These guys disembarked. The Hellbrutes moved forward, grabbed both pieces of loot. During the psychic phase, the Demonology Sorcerer popped out and exploded himself into a Bloodthirster.
Eep.
Over here, move forward, Rhino again turned to block. Thousand Suns disembarked. Armon stayed put. His psychic phase was fairly lackluster. Scored 2 smites, didn't do anything. These 3 Rhinos popped smoke. Guys shot and killed some squigs, and I could have possibly done a wound to a T-Fex if it didn't have a 3-up cover save.
Yay. I love you guys.
And I dealt 1 wound to the Warlord.
Ooh, we didn't check to see if he did his little crash.
Oh yeah, does he crash?
Yeah, let's do that. He does not.
He's good.
He's good.
Loves it.
Good job. Although it would have been really cool if you would have fell, because then you could have charged. But okay, on to, actually, no, it wouldn't have been good, because he got charged by squigs. Okay, on to Jippy's turn. Alright, even though Jippy was pretty lackluster, he shot a wound off a rhino, a hull point, and then some squigs attempted to charge a Sakaran, which didn't do anything. Because, yeah, it's 2 squigs. Okay, Tyranids turn. Okay, Tyranids had a pretty good turn. Walked over and grabbed some loot. Decided that, getting charged by a Bloodthirster, I don't want to do that. So they shot the newly made Bloodthirster. This guy tried to shoot some cultists so that they would not quad gun him in the face. However, they went to ground up there, and he killed a single cultist. I was able to get Catalyst off. Over here, not really much happened other than they ran over here, and Warlord was able to shoot a couple Thousand Suns. So yeah, basically getting into Blarg range. I was kind of hoping that Bloodthirster would still have 1 wound left, because then I could have multi-charged, but nope. Okay, so on to the Thousand Suns. Alright, well, Thousand Suns shot warriors. They killed a couple warriors. Put a wound on the Flyrant, who failed his, or did not fail his grounding test, I should say. Dropped 3 wounds off that League Carnifex. So really spread some wounds around. Charged the T-Fex, causing him to drop the loot counter, and caused a wound on him. The effects in turn immobilized the Dread with a smash. However, that just made him frenzied. So,
well, give me a frenzy token.
Give you a frenzy token, right. So yeah, so on to Tyranids. Oh no, sorry, on to Jippy. Okay, Jippy shot and killed 1,000 Sun because he can't shoot in combat. Squigs charged and did nothing. Okay, so this was the turn of good shooting, but not so good charging. So the Warriors managed to shoot 1,000 Sun off the board. However, they failed to charge. The Flyrant over here killed the 2,000 Suns over there. In the slap fight over here, the T-Fex smashed off another wound. The Flyrant over there shot the Hellbrute with Shrouding and managed to get the 3 hull points he needed.
The T-Fex killed the Sun.
The T-Fex, yeah, killed the 1,000 Sun. The Malanthrope, who is not an MC, charged the Rhino and managed to do a couple hull points. So that's great. The Carnifex apparently couldn't charge a Bastion, so they failed their charge there. So a couple failed charges, but some really good shooting. So yeah, on to the 1,000 Suns. Okay, that was a brutal turn for the Warriors. See that one warrior? Yeah, that's all that's left after a shooting phase and a charge. Even with Venomthrope support, they took a beating. Hive Tyrant Warlord got grounded, however failed to wound himself. He's down there with 1 wound left on him. The 1,000 Suns tried to charge in and get the best of him, but between Overwatch being quite lucky and getting to go first, and it was down to what, one invul, right?
Yeah, it was 1 invul that I failed.
One invul.
Yeah.
So he lived, but he's on the ground. Carnifex was taken out, and another wound put on another one. And yeah, the slap fight continues here. Yeah, okay. That was a pretty decent 1,000 Sun turn. And he moved the Rhino up to block to make sure that I wasn't going to drop that Bastion. So, on to Jippy. Alright, well, Jippy came over here. Won't shoot the Venomthropes because they're holding a loot counter. They're in combat. So, shot at a T-Fex. I rolled 1 shot and missed even with the twin linked. And there's no squigs left. So, yeah, Jippy's turn is quite short. We're going to entitle this... God damn it, Carnifex. Okay, so they failed again to charge the Bastion. Malanthrope charged the Rhino and failed to do anything. Torrent Flamer roasted some cultists who did not run or do anything really because they hated those guys anyway. I did probably not a great move. I probably should have flew him off the board, as Matt kept saying, why aren't you flying him off the board? But I want that Sicaran dead. So basically I threw a gamble over here by attempting to pop the Rhino with Warp Blast. However,
I dispelled it.
Yeah, Matt dispelled it. So I cast it successfully, but he did counter it. So I had to blow up the Rhino in shooting, and then I had this fun choice of either going after Sicaran with my Warlord who's on the ground, or trying to go after 1,000 Suns. But I thought, that Sicaran's probably super dangerous if I let him live, so he needs to die. So he died. But my Warlord is probably going to die in the return fire. Over here, a little bit of slap festing. I killed a 1,000 Sun, and he pulled a wound off. These guys are the kings of slap festing, and they still have not done anything to themselves. So they're just smacking each other. So, for those of you who are concerned about T-Fexes, charge them with something. They just don't have enough anything. They don't have enough attacks to do anything.
Yeah, he's doing 1 smash per turn, and if you don't hit with the smash, then they just sit there and, you know, whiffle at each other and have team crumpets, apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, trying to kill AV12 with 3 attacks at weapon skill 3 at strength 6 isn't happening.
Not gonna happen.
So yeah, so you guys, if you don't kill that Bastion next turn,
Failures of the game.
the Hive Mind will eat you. Well, it's gonna eat you anyway. Okay, on to Thousand Suns. So, some really amazing stuff happened this turn. The Thousand Suns, knowing it was the last turn, did some amazing stuff. As in got half of the Hive Tyrant's victory points that were flying after grounding him and charging him. So he netted 130 victory points there. They killed the Warlord as expected for the 230 there. I was able to get the Dread there, the Hellbrute. The Havocs, who were on fire today, they were just doing amazing.
Yeah.
They killed both Carnifexes with 1 volley of shots. So when we counted it all up, because that is my dead pile, it worked out to a difference of about 60 points,
Yeah,
something like
60
that,
points.
around there. Give or take a couple here, a couple there. So actually,
solid
we drew, and we both made a deal with Jippy. So yeah.
So those cancel, and we are both holding loot counters as well still. So
Yep. So those cancel our everything as well. So
let's go to the scores.
go to the scores. I think you won on secondaries, but let's check.
So we both get 7 because we scored within 150 of each other.
Yep.
We both made a deal with Jippy. We both hold 1 or more loot items at the end of the game, and I get +1 because my Warlord is still alive. So right now I am at 7, I'm at 10, and Shannon is at 9.
Yep.
And all of my scoring units are destroyed.
Nope.
No,
You have Thousand Suns,
I do. If I hold no items of loot, which we both do.
and my Warlord is destroyed. So see, you won on secondaries.
Turns out to a 10 to 8, barely victory, but
Yep.
victory nonetheless.
And it came out to that last turn. It was the Havocs. The Havocs
Havoc
won
volley,
it.
really.
Havocs won it because that was a swing of 450 points for victory points by those Carnifex dying, which I will blame on their failure to charge a stationary Bastion twice. Awesome, guys. You guys rock. Okay, well, with all the bad luck I've been having with the Tyranids for these 3 battle reports, of which Tyranids won how many? That would be none. That would be none. So
You got the bad luck out of the way.
I got the bad luck out of the way for the tournament this weekend, in which I'm still stubbornly, despite all evidence to the contrary.
But see, these warriors were completely untouched.
These guys were untouched, mainly because they weren't shot at, though.
And leveling the Relic Predator first turn was really... That saved...
That saved those
entire warrior
warriors.
squad.
Yes, because they were going to die. So yeah, after
Karen dying also, that was...
yeah, the Sakaran needed to die for sure. But he lived till like my last turn.
Yeah.
So really, in hindsight, I should have flew off the board.
Because
So-
I was...
I should have listened to you. I wasn't even thinking last turn. I wasn't going to get much victory points otherwise, so I wasn't going to get another turn. So I should have preserved what I got. So yeah. So don't just go nom nom nom. So those are my thoughts. What were your thoughts on how this mission went out? Anything we should change?
I actually think this one's pretty well vetted. The only thing that I would add is to the units that can pick up. You need to add monstrous creatures to the list because they do have hands. They can pick it up.
Yeah. It's any
so-
creature with a hand. So
But it doesn't list that monstrous creatures cannot run, shoot, or assault. It's in the. It's not in there. So people could make the argument that your Riptide just
yeah, they'd have to argue with me though.
super jumped.
They'd have to argue with me though, and that's not going to happen.
No.
But I could clarify that. Yeah.
The Scrapyard Squigs, because we had just hateful amounts of shooting. Didn't do a whole lot.
No.
They actually, I mean, they did a hole to the Sakaran, and
But in the end, it didn't really matter.
They did a wound to a Carnifex, but
Yeah.
they're pretty inconsequential. Jippy forced an invul save and killed a Thousand Sun. So yeah, there's really not much. There's nothing that I would change in this.
Yeah, it seemed like the environment didn't play a huge deal as far as stuff happened, but it was still interestingly enough that we got to interact with it and gain extra victory points. Like we couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
Because 200 victory points in this would have made a big deal either way.
Yeah. Definitely.
A huge deal because we were so close, right?
You have to make the deal.
You have to.
Absolutely.
200 points, you have to make that deal with Jippy. If you do not, and your opponent does, it's pretty hard to get that swing back. I know when Matt had made the deal with the Hellbrute, and then my warriors were in trouble over here, and the Thousand Suns started coming for them. I knew I had to make the deal with the Venomthropes, and if the Venomthropes didn't make that deal, I was in deep trouble, even though up till turn 5 I was steadily ahead in victory points, but you can't really count on that because as you can see, it can turn on a dime. Like that last turn was really excellent shooting. The Havocs, I think,
they were MVPs.
They were MVPs of this game. Every round that they shot, they did wounds, they hit lots, they were good. Stuff was dying. So yeah, they were great. So yeah, I don't really see anything that I would really much change. I think it worked out all right, and hopefully you guys have fun with this one because it's definitely going on the list for this year.
Yeah.
All right, see ya.